Well, hey, good morning. Welcome back to Doc's Coffee Talk here from Calvary Baptist Church in Wolf City, Texas. We're going to be in Luke chapter 2 this morning. Luke chapter 2. You can be turning there as you get ready. I want you to think about this. When you listen to music this time of year, you're going to notice a familiar theme. No, not Christmas. I understand it's Christmas season, but one of the themes that you'll notice is me or I. Okay, me or I. All I want for Christmas, Santa bring me such and such, presents for me, on and on, those kinds of things. Yes, Christmas is about a present, a gift, but it's about the greatest gift of all. Given, not just for me, not just for I, but for the whole world. Okay? It's hard to believe, but a tremendous number of people, even Christians, don't truly understand Christmas. They celebrate the season, even sing carols and post cute memes and talk about peace on earth, goodwill, and all that stuff, but really, they miss the point of it all. If you look there in Luke chapter 2, we're going to begin in verse 25. He says, "And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And this man was righteous and devout, looking for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. And it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ," or the Messiah. "And he came in the Holy Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought the child Jesus to carry out for him the custom of the law, then he took him into his arms and blessed God and said, 'Now, Lord, thou dost let thy bondservant depart in peace according to thy word, for my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light of revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of thy people Israel.' And his father and mother were amazed at these things that were being said about him. And Simeon blessed them, and he said to Mary his mother, 'Behold, this child is appointed for the fall and the rise of many in Israel, and for a sign to be opposed, and a sword will pierce even your own soul, to the end that thoughts from many hearts may be revealed.' And there was a prophetess, Anna, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was advanced in years, having lived with a husband 7 years after her marriage, and then as a widow to the age of 84. Some versions say living as a widow 84 years. So could she have been almost 100? It's kind of hard to understand that. But living to a widow, she's an old lady that's been a widow most of her life. Okay? And she never left the temple, serving night and day with fastings and prayers. And at that very moment, she came up and began giving thanks to God and continued to speak of him, Jesus, to all those who were looking for the redemption of Jerusalem." See, in the midst of all the activity of Christmas that we find ourselves in, but in the midst of all the activity that was surrounding this time, Simeon had been shown by the Holy Spirit that he would not see, he would not see death. He would see the Messiah of God before he died. He does, because God keeps his promises. And he blesses God, he blesses Mary and Joseph, he blesses the baby with the words that we just read about. But the person I want us to focus on today is Anna, okay? What does it mean to understand Christmas? Well, there's 2 things from Anna that we should note that I think would help us understand. Number 1 is this: how she responded to her circumstances. You see, our understanding of Christmas, we'd get a better understanding if we see how she responded to the circumstances in her life. She was married 7 years, widow for 84, however that spells out. Yet she wasn't bitter. She didn't let her tragedy consume her. No children. Think about that. She'd been married. She wasn't married for very long, but she didn't have any children. And so she had to fend for herself. How do we know that? Well, we know that prophecy before Jesus' time, God was pretty angry at Israel because one of the things was they had turned their backs on the widows, the poor, and the orphans. So we know she had to fend for herself. Yet, and I like that word, yet, she stayed at the temple and she praised God, she prophesied. Many people cannot have themselves a merry little Christmas. They can't have that because they're too angry and they're too bitter about life. Life has dealt them a bad hand, and that's all they focus on. There is no peace. There is no satisfaction because they choose to focus on the wrong thing. They focus on I. And when the mask come off and we each look deep inside ourselves, that's probably how we often respond to circumstances. But not Anna. Not Anna. Anna understood Christmas, that Jesus had come, not just to fulfill prophecy, but to fill our hearts. That's where God works, deep inside. Jesus said in John 14:27, peace I give you, the kind of peace only I can give. Peace directly from God via Bethlehem through Jesus Christ if we let him in, or if we have room in the inside. Anna let God have her heart, and she let God have her circumstances and her life, and that's what she focused on, was God. Number 2 thing to help us understand Christmas better, Anna shared the message. It says, and she talked of the child. She talked of him to all who were waiting expectantly. So many people need to hear the truth about the baby in the manger. Jesus came for all who will believe. And God offers peace through him, a peace that surpasses all understanding, because Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Merry Christmas.